What is going on, fam? What is going on? What's happening? What's goody? Look, you are tuned into another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. I am your friend, your bro, your homie, whatever you want to call me. It's me. I'm Arrington Gavin. That's I. Look, y'all. Hope you all are having a great time right now, and yeah, just excited. It's Friday. Uh, some people might say Friday or or weekend eve, or hey, it might be the start of your weekend. So again, I truly appreciate you tuning in to the Arrington Gavin podcast on this Friday, and just taking out the time just to continue to support, man. I host a weekly radio show titled "In Your City" on WNSB Hot 91.1 FM. Over in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. No worries if you're not in the Hampton Roads area, you can tune in to the show by downloading the free app, WNSB app, as well as going to WNSB.org. You can listen live on there. It airs every Sundays at 12 p.m. As well as, I host this podcast where it's really like this podcast is just fun because I get to sit down, chop it up with you, my friends, the listeners, the viewers, and just discuss current and trending stories happening just all around everyday topics and discussions. I throw in a few business tips that you might find helpful because I happen to be an entrepreneur. I'm still a student in the game, going on about 6 years now, so I'm very young, but a lot of the tips that I provide for you has helped me because one thing, I'm not the person like a typical salesman saying, hey, look, if you just do this and do that, you can also live the same dream. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you some realistic tips that can be helpful. It's not a guarantee that it will make you instant millions, but you can see growth within your business and your brand. So again, I truly appreciate that that you take the time out to listen. I'm just here trying to lend a helping hand. Lend a helping hand. Ooh, that was a little tongue twister there. Lend a helping hand to the up and coming entrepreneur or just that person that wants to invest in themselves, because it isn't easy. But look, let's get on going with some of today's stories. So I got a few things I want to talk about. First is a famous actor of a very popular TV sitcom show, now gonna be living the rest of his life in jail. Also, the start of Sunday football is coming up this Sunday. Very excited about that. The start of the football season, the regular season, preseason is finally over. Thank God. It's always like pointless when you watch. I mean, I'm glad it's just only 4 games, but I mean, do you think they should lower it or even just skip over preseason and continue having scrimmage games, like not televised? Because I always try to wonder, like, it's kind of a waste watching preseason, right? It's easier on people's pockets as far as going to catch an NFL game because the tickets are much inexpensive than the regular season. But you really, I've never been to a preseason game. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. I love it. I love it. No, we all about the regular season, y'all. But excited the regular season is starting. So we're going to talk about some of the game, predictions on that, as well as another conversation that wants to, I want to get you thinking on. So I'm going to start it off by talking about the famous actor by the name of Danny Masterson. Now, Danny Masterson is the star from That 70s Show, the show that garnered so many stars like Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher. I'm trying to remember his the other co-stars' names. I feel like everybody was on that damn show. Let me see, pull up right here real quick. It's funny, while I'm preparing for this to do this show, I always think that, okay, good, I got all my notes ready. I don't need to be like doing last minute preparation. Okay, so we got Laura Prepon, who she also starred in Orange is the New Black. I already mentioned Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, of course. Topher Grace, seen him in a few other movies. Wilmer Valderrama, remember that show Yo Mama? Doesn't that like cash money? And he's also an actor too. That was my impersonation. I don't know how good it was. I just remember that show was pretty dope. But Danny was Stephen Hyde in That 70s Show, and it's it's, man, I'll just read it. So this is given by the Associated Press. He gets 30 years to life in prison for rapes of 2 women. That's right, 2 women, y'all. 30 years. 30 years he's been sentenced. It says right here in Los Angeles, okay, a judge sentenced that 70 Show star Danny Masterson to 30 years to life in prison. Thursday, which was yesterday, for raping 2 women, giving them some relief after they spoke in court about the decades of damage he inflicted. I'm not going to really go into details, but at the end of the day, it's just, you just don't know. It's hard to separate the star from that real person, right? So that 70 Show was an extremely popular show. I mean, I can literally put it to the realm of, like, you have Friends, uh Living Singles, Martin, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, what other popular, I've already said Friends, well, that 70 Show, Roseanne. Think of any comedy sitcom you can think of at the moment. That 70 Show was always at the realm. It was on for 8 seasons. They've actually just done a spinoff, I think, called like that 90 Show or something, where you just have really a couple of the original stars on there. But that show was so popular and people loved his character so much. I mean, he did not really have to do any work for years because of the success of that show. He ended up doing a show, I believe, called The Ranch, that was on Netflix, that starred Ashton Kutcher, his one of his old colleagues from that 70s show, and it was a very popular show. And then here comes these allegations, and his character had left that show, and I think they continue to do the show a little longer, and without him, and the show is no longer on well, you can still catch it on Netflix, but it's no longer like in like continuing to do seasons after season after season. It's just, it's up there, you can catch it on. But yeah, it's just another star, because this is not like an uncommon thing where you do see famous stars when it comes to allegations, especially in the realms of rape or sexual assault, because let's not forget, now I know he's out of jail now, and he is and it's actually, it brought division actually in the Black community. And the person I'm about to bring up is Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby had multiple women that had made allegations that he drugged them and took advantage of them. And this was back from the before the 90s, the 80s and 90s. I mean, it's crazy. And he was it was well over 20 women. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but so many people kept coming out the woodworks, and he's still fighting back and forth in courts. I know recently he had served, I believe, like 2-3 years of a long-term sentence, and he came out, or he got released. I forgot exactly the reason behind it, but he was another guy, right? He was, a fan favorite. It was Dr. Huxtable, and people loved him. But again, separate the star from the real life person. Now, the question is this going to affect the fan base of that 70 show now that this man has to serve will be serving 30 years to life? I mean, the man, he's going to rot in jail. It's point blank period. And at the end of the day, nobody's above the law. He's suffering the consequences because he committed a crime. This man is 47 years old. 47 years old. So you do the math. 30 years to life. I mean, and for 2 women, I mean, this is, and you know what? This is justice, because for one, you rarely see white celebrities or white actors get convicted for a crime like this. I will say that you rarely see it. I mean, it happens, but I think you see a slight difference compared to minority celebs, right? So of course we can talk about Harvey Weinstein. He's in prison as we speak, I believe. And he he did the exact same act. For a second, Kevin Spacey was getting close, but his charges were, I believe, dropped, or he won his case, and now he's a free man getting back into acting and all that stuff. But it still puts a burden a burden on his name and career. The only the two people of color that I could think of, R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Those are the two main ones right there. But yeah, man, this is justice. Justice was served. So again, congrats to the victims. Pray for those victims, man, because it's still something that they will forever tell this story and share it. And it's a hard pill to recover from that. But again, 30 years. That's wow. It's just I'm really like stuck on that number, 30 years for a person with so much popularity, because that show, again, that 70 show was so popular. So I'm gonna move on to another topic, y'all. But again, that 70 show actor Danny Masterson, known as Hyde, gets 30 years to life in prison for rapes of 2 women. Ladies, we have to continue to keep our queen safe out here, because there's some dogs out here in these streets that are doing some disgusting things, especially in higher power positions, because they think they can get away with it. A lot of abusive power that goes on and still exists in this country, in this society. So, fellas, we always have to continue to keep our queens, whether they're our friends, our spouses, girlfriends, sisters, cousins. We gotta keep them safe, man. And we have to come after men like these pigs right here that think they can take advantage of a female and just live their life like, oh, nothing happened. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting, and it's ridiculous. Moving on. Okay, so this conversation, this question came up by a well-respected journalist and attorney. Her name is, well, she's a television host and attorney. Her name is Ebony K. Williams. Ebony K. Williams, she's a former host and analyst from Fox News. She has since then left them, was on Revolt TV for a long period as one of the co-hosts of State of the Culture. She's made countless appearances on The Breakfast Club. She Real Housewives of New York City. She did it for one season. What else is known for her? She's currently a host on The Griot, Byron Allen's channel, The Griot. And she has since been, on that show, she's always made some pretty, I won't say controversial topics, but topics that got everybody thinking, and it was always resurfacing it. And it was, everybody was talking about it, weeks after she had brought it up, or months after she had brought it up. So this one came up and really caught my attention because, for one, this is not the first time I disagreed with Ebony K. Williams. Again, have huge respect for her, and I know I'm probably not alone. I know she's probably not alone on this, on the beliefs of this conversation. But she had mentioned on her show that spankings are the product of slavery. Her take is why it's dead wrong to spank your kids. Now her words, not mine. She has said spanking is the whitest thing that African American, that black households can do. Is basically like, you spank your kids. That's the wisest thing, because spanking is a product of slavery. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I disagree with that. She makes a valid point. In slavery, were slaves whipped when they were being punished, or just whipped just in general? Yes, they were. Now, come back to our society, right? When the child did something wrong, when they did something bad, what was their punishment? Now, in a black household, now not all, I'm just speaking for my own. If I did something bad, I got a pop on my leg, got a pop on my hind part, I got the belt, I got whipped, I got a spanking. That can happen in any household. But I think for her to say that's the whitest thing, it's funny, because in I have, the whole inside joke when it comes to the disciplines, the way you discipline your child. If you discipline a black child and you discipline a white child, black household, white household, the difference is it's like, okay, you are in timeout, mister. You are in timeout, or I'm gonna take something that means a lot to you, whether it's your video games or TV or cell phone, things like that. Now, I go back to the way I was growing up. I was raised. I got an ass whooping, and all I needed was that one ass whooping, and I learned my damn lesson. Okay. My mother, and she can answer this question because I don't know how many spankings. I know I got more than one. Now, I wasn't a bad kid, but I know I got more than one whipping. I remember, my nana popped me in my mouth one time because I think I said something smart. But guess what? I never said anything smart to her again. Or you always hear the phrase, "Don't get fresh, don't get snippy now, don't get bopped, don't get bopped." But we laugh about it now, but those were life lesson learned, man. That was what you call tough love. That wasn't called abuse. That wasn't called replicating slavery. That was tough love. Because I'll tell you this, Miss Ebony, that right there, in my opinion, is what kids are missing today. Because a lot of kids now, they think they're grown. If you go outside right now, the average like teenager or preteen, they're the size of an average adult. Like, they're getting bigger, they're getting more body mass, bigger shoe size, they taller. They think they're grown, and they think they can talk down on their parents. For one, you have a lot of parents that treat their kids like they're their friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. I consider my mother my best friend, but she's also my mother first and foremost. So don't think that you can just call your parent by their first name or ignore when they give you a chore or a task to do and no consequences. Like, this whole punishment or go to your room and stuff. Look, whenever rules are being brought, guess what? Everybody's always thinking of a way to break them. Whether they're a child, whether they're an adult. Look, you got adults right now breaking rules. That's why we got the laws. That's why we got crimes and criminals. People break the law. Okay. To say that it's wrong to spank your kid, that is your opinion. And it's look, not everybody is cool to spank their kid. Now, I'll go back to a story of former NFL star, one of my all-time favorite running backs, Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson was in the news because he had spanked his kids, and I believe he might have spanked his, I forgot what age, but he spanked his child at one point to it showed a bruise. Now, the child might have been 3, 2, I really can't remember, but they were saying how that was a form of child abuse. And again, there is a certain, I'm not saying, Adrian Peterson he's a professional athlete, very strong. I'm not saying use all your force to when you discipline your kids. I don't have kids. I have a dog. Okay. I have a small puppy, Cavachon, a small Cavachon puppy. I don't have any children. I have 2 nieces and 1 nephew who are all grown adults. Now, if I ask their parents, hey, did they get spankings? I will want to get their view, and if they're the opposite, like I will want to have that conversation. But I'm pretty sure they got spankings. They grew up to be great kids, listening to their parents. Yeah, kids are always gonna rebel and be like, "Oh, roll your eyes" and all this stuff. But let me tell you something. You don't have to. If you spank your child, you don't have to worry about getting a call from the cops about your child doing something stupid. You don't have to worry about getting a call from the principal's office about your kid doing something stupid. You don't have to get a call by the teacher, vice versa. They might not be the most perfect individual, but they will have proper guidance, because we live in a society right now. A lot of crime consists with our youth. It's happening with our youth, or if crime in our universities is a kid. The criminals are getting younger and younger, man. And sometimes it's the product of their environment, whether how their living conditions are. But or I'll even nail it on another thing. Karens, the Karens in the world. Not saying if your name is actually Karen, but the whole the theme of, like, Karens are individuals that complain about BS stuff, and want to make a huge scene and like, oh my goodness, oh my god, like people that has always been, that's never been told no. People that has never been told no are people that has never been spanked. Because again, you grow up to think you're untouchable. You grow up to think that there is no such thing as discipline, and you continue that pattern. Sometimes even with your own children, if you were that individual that was never taught discipline, you pour that into your kid, and then you're moving a cycle that really is not going to be helpful for that child. So I go back to Ebony K. Williams, host of the Griot. I disagree with that topic. I disagree with that. I disagree with the statement that you said. And again, even if you bring up like, hey, spanking was a product of slavery, again, that was then, this is now. Okay, that was then, this is now. I'm pretty sure people that were slaves spanked their kids. Okay, after they probably got whipped for working their asses off in the fields, and you get home, your kid gives you lip. Or saying like, hey, you're not sacrificing or this and that and the other. You pop that some gun and they learn a lesson. Hey, that's a discipline tactic. Now again, some people grew up with grab that switch off that, grab a branch and get the switch. I mean, like they wouldn't worse them now. They wouldn't worse them. But I do think that spanking is not an awful thing. I think that's a tactic that should always be in the disciplinary handbook when it comes to, how can I discipline? So that's just my opinion, y'all. Please give me your thoughts on spanking. What's your assumption? What's your opinion on spanking? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's wrong? If you are a parent, have you ever spanked your kids, or do you promote spanking your kids in your household if they are being disciplined? If you're the opposite, please contact me through my Instagram, Arrington Gavin. Also, you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel, our Smooth Club Media, and I truly will appreciate it. Guys, okay, last story I want to bring up, because it is football season. Football regular season, baby. This Sunday we got some great games happening. We got my Colts facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. We also got the Texans facing the Baltimore Ravens happening. These two games are both happening at 1 p.m. One on CBS, the other on Fox. Baltimore Ravens, as you know, they had some new signings. They got Odell Beckham now added to their roster, and Lamar, what's his name? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson got a new hefty contract, so let's see how he's gonna do. Let's hope he stays healthy throughout the season, because I know that's always been a kind of a conversation amongst other sports personnel and analysts. Also, we got the Cincinnati Bengals facing the the Cleveland Browns. We also have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Tampa Bay, as you know, is coming off a season losing one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times, Tom Brady, but they have what's the gentleman from I'm not that important. Obviously, because if I can't remember him, then we got a problem. But they got a new QB, and it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see how they're going to do. Baker Mayfield, there we go. Baker Mayfield will be their starter. Actually, the Indianapolis Colts, we got a new Anthony Richardson. He's going to be starting. African-American young guy, athletic. So I'm excited to see how he's going to do. I watched him a little bit during the preseason, so I think he's going to do all right. Let's see who else. Tennessee Titans facing the Saints. That's a lot of 1 o'clock games. The Carolina Panthers will be facing the Falcons. The 49ers will be facing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see. The Arizona Cardinals will go against the Washington Commanders under new ownership. Bye-bye, Dan Snyder. Bye-bye. You got Magic Johnson, a part of that new ownership over in Washington. Let's see. The Las Vegas Raiders will be facing the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos now have a new head coach in Sean Payton, who was the former head coach of the New Orleans Saints, won a Super Bowl with them, as well as was a sports analyst. So he's now left the booth and is coaching on the sideline, hopefully to rebuild the Denver Broncos squad with Russell Wilson, who had a fairly awful season last year. So I hope he can recuperate and redeem himself this season. Also, we got the Miami Dolphins facing the Los Angeles Chargers. We have the Philadelphia Eagles facing the New England Patriots. We have the Green Bay Packers will be facing the Bears, Chicago Bears. Let's see. We have the Los Angeles Rams going against the Seattle Seahawks. We have the Dallas Cowboys going against the New York Giants. That will be your last and final primetime game on that Sunday. So a lot of great games happening for the start of the regular season. Yesterday, as you know, we had the Detroit Lions face the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's an exciting season. But I wanted to end it off by bringing this story because another one of my favorite running backs, Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams, he had his best years really with the Miami Dolphins. I believe he was drafted with the Saints, had great years there. A Texas legend for the University of Texas. He is a huge fan of the cannabis. Okay, he's a huge fan of the herb, and he had said, look, he wants the NFL to offer players cannabis for treatments after games. Now, I agree with fellow running back great Ricky Williams because cannabis is grown from the earth. Now, I am not I don't smoke cannabis. I have taken gummies here and there just to chillax. I have good friends that work in the cannabis industry. It's very lucrative. It's safe on the body. Of course you never want to overindulge it, but you want to make sure you get it from a true professional, not just, somebody off the street. Okay. People. But Williams was suspended multiple times during his NFL career. I think he played 13 or 14 seasons in the NFL. And he was suspended multiple times during his career due to marijuana use. Now, at the time, which is still pretty strong to this day, they have a no marijuana policy. No marijuana policy. Now, to my knowledge, marijuana is not like a steroid, right? It's not like, let me juice myself up and build up more muscle mass, or let me get more energy. Everybody has a different tolerance. Now, to my knowledge, weed makes you slow down, makes you more calm, makes you more peaceful. Now, I think this is a great alternative because so many athletes, current and retired, they develop addiction to prescription drugs because if you're in your career, say you're a current professional athlete, you are the provider for your household, right? Every time you hit that field, that's you make money. If you don't make money. Now, depending if you have a great agent, that's different. But majority of the time, if you are not on that field, you don't get paid. So you're going to do everything you can to stay on that field, to play, and to do, you have that passion. So they develop an addiction to prescription drugs because they're like, okay, it gets rid of the pain. Let me just play. I'm good. But then now let's fast forward it, and you've retired as an athlete. Now, all those past injuries, surgeries start teeter-tottering down on you the older you get. The body starts really deteriorating and takes a beating. Again, prescription pills comes into play. Now, I personally will say that you have got to really be careful. Hopefully you have a trusted physician that you trust, that can prescribe great stuff to you. You can ask them about cannabis because there are a lot of physicians out there that are starting to agree with cannabis usage. And when people say the use of cannabis, that don't mean they always got to smoke a blunt. Okay, that's not mean smoking weed. There you can incorporate weed in different forms, in different many forms. But I do agree with Ricky Williams, because one thing, Ricky Williams is all about positivity. He's all about making sure the next person body is well taken care of and is healed, and it heals properly and things like that. So I hope the NFL considers it. Do I think they will this season? No, but I do think it will continue to be the top tier in conversations. The more multiple states starts to legalize it. There's so many dispensaries opening up around my area. So many shops and cannabis shops that open up. Eventually, I actually want to have a conversation with a good friend of mine who's a cannabis nurse. I have a segment that I'm starting up called Arrington's Most Interesting People, and we're actually going to develop it into a small, like sit down conversation show. But I also will kind of pull parts of it and throw that onto my weekly radio show. So yeah. So I want to have that conversation with her because I think this is very important, and I do think that it's important because we live in a society where pharmaceutical companies are all about the almighty dollar. Sometimes they don't care about what the pills can do to you. They just like, hey, stuff it, keep selling, and they will turn your doctor, or they'll just turn doctors, some doctors in general, not all, but they will turn some doctors into just their sales people. So you got to be careful. You have to be careful. But look, that's just the world we live in, y'all. That is just the world we live in. Let me pretty much close it. I'm gonna close it, y'all. I am gonna close it because, for one, there is so much stuff happening that that I don't want to miss. And while I'm while I'm talking to you, stuff happens. So guess what? I will come back with you all on Monday. And I hope y'all have an amazing, amazing Friday evening. Stay safe out there. Have a great weekend, y'all. Be safe. Until next time, continue to tune into the Arrington Gavin podcast. Again, I will be dropping new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern time on your podcast, and you can also tune in on those same days at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, R Smooth Club Media. Okay, I'll say that one more time because that was a lot. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Tune in. New episodes will be dropping. Okay, 10 a.m. If you want to just tune into the podcast version, they will go up at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to watch it, get a good visual of how fresh your boy is dressed today, check me out at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, R Smooth Club Media. Until next time, y'all be easy. Take care.